Have you ever thought of starting your own content creation journey but then stopped yourself because you didn't know where to start from, or maybe you're too worried about what others will think about you? Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Rupesh and I'm here to tell you that it is possible to overcome all these challenges. Over the past 1 month, I've been on my own content creation journey as well, and I've learned a lot along the way. I did face a lot of challenges like figuring out my niche, overcoming the fear of camera, and dealing with the inconsistent growth of the channel. Though there are a lot of videos on this topic on YouTube, most of these videos are from channels which are having already a sizable amount of subscribers or have been doing the content creation since like a year or more than that. In this video, I wanted to share my insights and learnings with you guys as a beginner. Okay, so before diving into my journey, let's kind of try to understand why I started the process of content creation in the first place. I actually had this idea since a very long time, but there was always some reason to postpone it. Like, I didn't know what my niche would be, sometimes I thought I didn't know how to edit properly, or I would wonder if this is actually worth it, and the list just goes on. But finally, after a lot of back and forth, I thought of giving it a proper shot. And this time I've decided that giving it a shot is not like posting one or two videos here and there, but actually being consistent and posting good quality content for about 6 to 7 months. And then later on, I'll decide whether or not to continue it depending on how it's going. As soon as I decided to begin, I knew I need a proper plan of action. So I started by listing out everything that is required in the content creation process. So I came up with the following list. The first step is scripting. Then the second step is shooting, where both audio and video quality should be taken care of. Then the third step is editing. The fourth step is researching for relevant hashtags. The fifth step is taking care of writing proper descriptions. The sixth step is creating relevant thumbnails. And seventh and the final step is posting it. So about 2 years back in COVID also, I tried to give a shot in content creation and I failed miserably. I just uploaded 2 videos and brought them down immediately because I didn't think they were good enough. I kind of learned from that experience that trying to make everything perfect in one go is very overwhelming. And because of this, we kind of quit it altogether. So this time I didn't want to do the same mistake, and I wanted to design the process in a way that it's both easy for me and at the same time I'm also happy with the output. So after a lot of thinking, I decided to start by posting Instagram Reels because this had three major advantages. One is I just had to write a script that was like 1.5 minute long. Number two is editing, because editing is a lot less stressful in terms of reels, because unlike a full-blown YouTube video, the editing need not be very perfect when it comes to reels. And number three is reels have a better reach than a full-length video. So in an initial stage, it's extremely helpful because it will, one, increase the reach of the channel, and two, also be a good moral boost. To keep it easy for the first couple of videos, I even decided not to have a dedicated thumbnail for each video and rather just have a snippet out of the video as a thumbnail. Once this first part of the plan was set, that is when I came to the big question that, what should my niche be? I did kind of toy around with this question for a long period of time, but then finally I came to a conclusion that I don't even have an audience. It doesn't really matter which topic I'm making a video on. All I knew was that I was not very comfortable with sharing my personal life on camera, at least as of now. So anything apart from vlogging will do. I could talk about any topic to start with. So a broad segment like infotainment seemed to be a good choice. So now that all these issues were resolved with this strategy, the biggest hiccup was to actually post the content. Because I hate to admit it, but I was very conscious about how people would perceive it or what my friends and family would think about it, and this was kind of a very big hurdle to pass. No problem, I came up with a solution for that as well. I just didn't tell anybody. I created a new account with a new Gmail ID and didn't even link it with my personal account so that nobody would ever find out. My idea was that I just post on my channel and let the algorithm actually take the content to the relevant viewers. This might sound silly, but it actually helped me a lot in the initial stages, because it kind of reduced the burden on me to create perfect content with the fear of getting judged by other people. And surprisingly, in the initial days, this strategy worked really well for me, because now that I was not overwhelmed and neither did I have that pressure of creating perfect content, I actually started enjoying the process more. If you're also facing a similar dilemma, then identifying what is actually bothering you and creating a solution around it might actually make the process a lot easier for you as well. And trust me, it is not like you'll never get used to this. At least in my case, because I was posting consistently, I got a lot more comfortable with this entire process. And as an outcome of this, I actually started feeling okay about letting my friends and family know about this. See, this feeling came in very organically and naturally to me over the course of time. And honestly, after telling everybody, I realized that people do not really react in a very bad way. Yeah, sure, sometimes they might pull your leg or make fun of you, but 90% of the time, people are actually very supportive. And most importantly, after a time, nobody cares. No one has the time to actually sit and think about you or what you're doing. So I guess it's all in our head, and only by going through this process, you can overcome that conscious feeling. Another major point that is usually a great deal of debate when it comes to content creation is how often should you post? Should you prioritize quality over quantity or vice versa? According to my personal experience, I think initially quantity is very important. Maybe eventually you can then shift towards quality. Since I started out by posting one reel per day, yeah, obviously sometimes I had to rush through the scripting process, or sometimes I even had to cut down on a few edits that I had initially planned. But as I worked on around 10 to 15 videos in the first 2 weeks itself, I got to learn a lot. I kind of tried something new in every video, and this kind of incrementally added up over the time. But since now I've started doing full length YouTube videos as well, it's incredibly tough for me to manage like posting reels every day, considering that I also have a full time job. So for now, I've settled on posting 3 reels per week and one YouTube video. Moving on to the next thing that people keep talking about is posting according to a schedule. So there's a lot of advice online that you should be posting according to a given schedule for the algorithm to be efficient. And I think there is some amount of truth to it as well. But in a starting stage, I think there are a lot of other things that are more important than just focusing on this one thing. And obviously, sometimes other things of higher priority show up, and I have to push posting the content by a couple of hours or even sometimes by 1 or 2 days. Initially, I used to feel very bad about it, but now I kind of made peace with it. Managing a full-time job and creating content, and especially being very new at it as well. So currently my priority is just to post first rather than being very specific on posting on time. As I said earlier, not overwhelming myself and being consistent are my two priorities. All this is not to say that I'll not stick to a schedule, but it's important to understand that sometimes life happens and maybe I cannot always stick to the schedule. But do you know what's worse than not posting on time? Not posting at all. So that's important to understand. So this was all about the video creation process, but now let's talk about the juicy part and how the numbers are looking like. When I started posting for the first 2 reels, I think I got a good reach of around 400 to 500 views. But then I saw a dip in the number of views after that. It maybe dropped to around 100 views a reel for a week after that. This continued for a good week until I made a reel on Cricket World Cup and it got crazy traction. Initially, within a day, it had around 2000 views and I even gained around 10 to 15 followers from this reel. After this, my reels kind of on an average had around 250 views and some even topped at around 600 to 700 views. So the thing that I'm struggling to understand right now is whether this growth is good enough for a new channel. Because I did see a couple of videos online where the growth that they shared seemed really unreal to me because the number of followers and the number of views that they gained were massive. That too in the first 5 to 6 months of starting their channel. Either if this is a possibility, then I'm kind of missing out on something and I actually need to work on it. Or if the rate at which my channel is growing is quite organic, then I just need to be consistent. So this is something that I still need to figure out. Oh, also one very interesting thing that I observed about Instagram is it is exposing my content to about 300 to 500 new users every time. Right now I need to focus on increasing this number because if my content is interesting, then increasing this number automatically will translate into increasing views and increasing followers. But even after increasing these numbers, if my number of followers or views are not increasing, that is when maybe I have to work on my content a bit. Actually, my experience with YouTube Shorts has been even more weird because firstly, I've observed that YouTube Shorts don't give you as much exposure as Instagram Reels. And secondly, after my first 2 YouTube Shorts, literally the next 6 shorts got 0 views for a week. After which I don't know how they started getting a couple of views again. Now, after about 40 days of starting my channel, I have about 135 followers on Instagram and with a reach of around 300 to 400 views per reel. And as far as YouTube goes, I have about 25 subscribers and the reach for YouTube Shorts is around 20 to 30 views. Whereas for the full length video, I got around 200 views. So to conclude, so far what I've understood about content creation is that the content creation journey should happen in phases. According to me, right now I'm in the second phase. The first phase was when I just started out and everything was very new to me. Posting one video per day made sense back then because it made me learn a lot about the end-to-end process. So currently in phase 2, since I got a little comfortable with this entire process, now I'm focusing more on increasing the efficiency. So I've started incorporating processes like scripting in batches and also shooting in batches so that I can make the entire process more efficient. Not just this, narrowing down to 3 reels per week and 1 video per week was also a part of making the process more sustainable. According to me, the next phase is where I have to focus on two major things. One, in terms of the content, I think I should focus on creating even more engaging content. And also, I should try to further reduce the camera consciousness down. And number two, in terms of growth, I think I need to figure out how to reach out to a wider set of audience and increase my reach. And I guess this strategy will keep on evolving as the journey progresses. If you're somebody who's trying to start your own content creation journey, then the best piece of advice that I can give from my limited experience is that try to enjoy the process more and don't let the numbers and the reach and all these things bother you much, at least at the initial stages. And if you're wondering that, not everybody will become a content creator with 1 million followers, then is it even worth it? Then let me assure you that the journey of content creation itself is very rewarding. The skills and experiences that you'll be gaining along the way are very invaluable. I'm truly enjoying this journey a lot, and genuinely I want to thank everybody who has supported me thus far. That encouragement and the confidence that was provided definitely played a crucial role in my progress. I would definitely encourage everybody to try content creation at least once in their lives, just to experience the process and to gain the skills that come with it. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve my content, or if you're on a content creation journey yourself, I'd love to connect and exchange ideas. So feel free to reach out and maybe we can learn a lot from each other. And in the end, if you found the video to be insightful, then drop in a like and consider subscribing to Rupesh Explains. And as usual, I'll see you in the next one.